And coming up here on Joy News Prime, governing NPP heads back at critics who say Vice President Dr. Bawumia is no longer focusing on the economy but digitization because of his poor handling of the economy. We have details as the spokesperson of the Vice President insists digitalization remains the surest way to achieve economic growth.
Some also ask the question, how is digitization related to the macroeconomy? Okay, how is it related to economic growth? Some ask, why don't you talk about economic growth like GDP, since that is what you are known for? Yes, everything we do is geared towards enhancing economic growth.
West African Examination Council outlines specific steps in dealing with the perennial exam leakage across the country.
We want to say that we can have tests in different formats for everybody, so that maybe if we are sitting together in the same examination hall, the tests that you are doing will be different from mine, you know.
And coming up in business.
After suffering the brunt of a banking crisis, former chief executive of defunct UT Bank, Prince Kofi Amoabin, takes a step back from the corporate world.
Nothing much next. I am not in a position as in trying hard to prove myself or re-establish myself. I will be 70 in the next few months. And God has been good to me. So fine, I'm healthy, I may do other things, but writing a book probably is worth a lot more than trying to do other business.
Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanifa studios here at Kukumlemle in Accra. We're also live on DSTV channel 421. My name is Ernest Menu. Hello again, many thanks for joining us. My name is Ernest Minu. Let's settle for the details now. Those who say digitalization has no direct bearing on the living standards of the people do not appreciate the intricate connection between the two. That's according to the New Patriotic Party. This week, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia spoke on government's agenda to digitize the economy to cut waste, among others. But some critics have lashed out at the Vice President, saying the talk on digitization has no real bearing on the real suffering of the people. But addressing the press conference Friday, spokesperson for the Vice President, Dr. Gideon Buako, stressed that government's digitization agenda is what spurs the country's economic growth.
Some also ask the question, how is digitization related to the macroeconomy? Okay, how is it related to economic growth? Some ask, why don't you talk about economic growth like GDP, since that is what you are known for? Yes, everything we do is geared towards enhancing economic growth and increasing the growth spurt. But quite interestingly, having the desire and wish to increase growth is one thing, and putting in place the systems to serve as vehicle for that economic takeoff is also another. We keep on doing the same things in the old-fashioned way and still expect new results. No way, it won't happen. Growing up, through my youthful days to my adulthood, I've been hearing rhetoric about how we are blessed as a country with abundant natural resources such as gold, diamond, bauxite, oil, cocoa, and so on, and still we are not developed. There have been talks about how better or at par we were with countries such as South Korea, Malaysia, and so on. But today, are miles away from us in terms of development. While we complain about the hopelessness of the society we have created for ourselves, we equally must be aggressive in thinking outside the box to offer the most contemporary solutions to our long-standing challenges. The complaints and rhetoric will not do the magic. How can we have increased economic activity and growth when we do not put in place systems to make trade and commerce executed efficiently and effectively with speed? Before we implemented mobile money payments interoperability, we saw how difficult and slow it was for people to pay for services and receive money, either remittances or debt payment from one another.
Dr. Gideon Buako proceeded to explain how digitalization has improved some sectors of the economy, which has directly improved the lives of the people.
There have also been the question on how can digitization help us create jobs? There is this contention on how digitization can help create jobs or reduce the rate of unemployment. Someone even said, yeah, Juma, what's a digitization? To wait, we need jobs, and you're talking about digitization. But I dare say that digitization is making it possible for many jobs to be created in both the public and the private sectors. The concept of digital technologies has come with what we could be seen as a virtual means of trade, put differently as e-commerce. Think of that young university student or graduate who does not have the required startup capital to rent physical space or shop to ply her trade. She is able to skip this hurdle and trade using the social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Her shop is her dormitory, hostel, car booth, or bedroom. She is able to advertise her products, get orders, and receive payments through the mobile money payment interoperability.
Dr. Gideon Bako has been explaining exactly how the Ghana card will be used as e-passport. He clarified that the Vice President never meant that Ghanaians won't require visas to travel.
Traveling from Ghana to any other country, you need to get your visa into your passport, okay, and then you can travel. But if you're coming back and you don't even have your passport with you, because you're a Ghanaian and you're coming to Ghana and you have the Ghana card, you can come to Ghana. Then also, there are some Ghanaians who are born to Ghanaian parents, whatever, they are Ghanaians, but they are also Americans and they have the American passport. These Ghanaians, because they don't have Ghanaian passport, because they are citizens in America also, they are Ghanaians all right. Anytime they are coming to Ghana, they have to go to the Ghana embassy in the US and secure Ghana visa. But this time around, if any of those people who are, Americans or British or whatever, and have British or American passport, also have the Ghana card, when they are coming to Ghana, they don't need to go to the Ghana embassy in the country before they can come. They can just show their Ghana card and then they can come to Ghana. That is what we mean.
Away from the NPP, the Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, has blamed the delay on the part of contractors for the slow pace of projects awarded by government. He said this in Parliament whilst answering questions pertaining to the delayed road projects, especially in Adenta.
I want the minister to appreciate what the school kids. This is a drain, Mr. Speaker. When it rains, these children cannot cross.
Honorable member, we'll sing. It's okay. Yes,
so, Mr. Speaker,
we'll sing. The minister have seen.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. So I would want.
So now, what is the question?
Mr. Speaker, just to further plead with the minister that he has seen what my constituents are going through. So I plead with him that in the 2022 budget, it should be incorporated in the budget.
So it's not the question.
Speaker.
Now, Kwesi Amoakwata warned that contractors who delay projects will suffer termination of their contracts.
Legal process of terminating the contract contractually and trying to work on the scope of the contract and re-award takes a very long time. So all the time, effort is made to make sure that the contractor is assisted where necessary to continue with the work. So if it's found out that, yes, perhaps delayed payment is causing a problem, we try to do something about it. If it's found out that the contractor lacks capacity and cannot do the work, then we will be left with no option than to terminate it and to repackage and re-award for a more efficient contractor to take over. And this particular contract appears to be so. So we are keeping a close eye on it, and we will take immediate action to make sure that the people, good people of Adenta, do not suffer. because this boundary road and the roundabout, that intersection is very key to us. So that's what my ministry is doing.
Let's stay in Parliament because the MP for Norton, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is worried about the delay in scheduling private members' motions filed by the minority for debate in the plenary. The minority have, among others, filed about 6 private members' motions asking Parliament to set up committees to look into the issues, including the expenditures made by government in relation to COVID-19 since the outbreak, also a probe into President Akufo-Addo's use of chartered flights for his foreign travels is still hanging. The ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee fears the budget presentation may undermine the urgency of the motions filed by the minority. He's asking the leadership of the House to, as a matter of urgency, schedule the motions for plenary.
As I said on the floor of the House today, I have been quite worried that the number of these private members' motions that continue to feature on the order paper, and we are not taking them. We are not seeing action. So it's admitted by Speaker, it's advertised, and then no movement. I want to see the ball move. I want to see that we debate the motion, the committees are set up, and quickly work commences. And as I said on the floor of the House today, I follow other parliaments. They are able to have multiple probes. The U.S. Congress today, the January 6th committee is meeting, and they have other committees. The big tech matter is being probed. You have all manner of committees, special committees looking even into the Afghanistan pullout, for example, and they are all working at the same time. So I honestly do not see why all of these private members' motions, which, by the way, is a very good, development, and the Speaker must be commended for opening the space and allowing more of these private members' motions and private members' bills. But you see, the excitement should not be short-lived. We should see them through. And we should learn from best practice. We should learn from other jurisdictions. It is possible to walk and chew gum at the same time. We can have multiple probes running concurrently, and it will not affect work at all, because we are used to committee business taking place, various committees meeting. I mean, when the budget is presented, for example, the estimates will be presented to the various committees: foreign affairs, education, local government, agriculture, the science and environment, name them, sitting around the same time. And their reports will be presented. Then the whole House will have time to debate the reports. So I want to see some expedited action. And I hope that Mr. Speaker, having done his job and the advertisements having come up, we will now see the programming of these private members' motions for initial debate. The membership of the committees are then agreed upon. Then, right after that, the committees are enjoined to sit.
Let's turn our attention now to road safety. And road safety campaigners are pushing for increased investment in Ghana's rail sector to improve the transport mix. National President of the Road Safety Advocates Ghana, Nana Ano Amihia, says overcrowding on the roads with heavy-duty vehicles is a major factor to carnage on our roads.
According to the road safety advocate, the frequent breakdown of heavy-duty trucks and indiscriminate parking on shoulders of roads obstruct traffic, leading to accidents. Nana Ano Amihia believes a revamped rail sector would ease the volume of vehicles on the roads. His comments come after 3 major accidents in the Ashanti region claimed 28 lives in 3 days.
In a developed country where you have a mixture of transportation, we have rail, and rail plays a very significant role. All the bulk goods that you see, all the bulk haulage, the hazardous goods that you see, are carried by the rail system. But in Ghana, what do you see? What we are looking at, all the bulk haulage is being done by road transport. And that is the main primary cause of accidents, because the roads have been overburdened.
Nana Ano also wants the government to prioritize the dualization of major highways in the country and continuous training for drivers.
We need to dualize our roads. We are not dualizing them. We need to train drivers to be able to drive on a road that has a lot of activities. So until these things have been looked at as a policy to try and bring rail into our transportation mix, these accidents are going to happen on a daily basis.
Reporting for Joy News, Obideshie Ofori Amanfo.
The chairman of the board of directors of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, Freddie Blay, has debunked claims by some residents living along the coast of the western region that seaweeds, which invade their communities, affecting livelihoods, especially fishing, is as a result of oil exploration in the region. He attributed the invasion of the seaweeds to climate change conditions. Correspondent Natalia Kwanzaa has more in the following report.
It is their operations that is bringing this weeds. We started seeing them when they started drilling the oil.
Very, very terrible. Here is my hometown, but the first time we came here it wasn't like that. But so the government should come to our aid. We plead the government should come to our aid.
I said, Sister Wooden Abaya, Sister Wooden Po. Apuna maybe or Dibuko. In a Gina Punanumpa, a Genoma was Sadumpa, Obia Novo to move. In a one, or the Yalabas or Yaman. Two, answer some wasn't in them.
These are residents who might not have any scientific proof or evidence to back their claims, but they strongly believe that these weeds on the seashores along the coast might have a link to the oil industry. But the chairman of the board of directors of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Freddie Blay, says the seaweeds has nothing to do with the oil industry, but rather climatic conditions.
You see, it has been an invasion of the seaweeds on this coastline. Now it made it impossible, we have been informed, for the community, particularly fishermen, to go to sea and look for their livelihood. And that is causing serious problems around here. And some of them even have speculated, wrongly though, that the seaweeds or the sargasso weeds are coming because there is oil production on the coastline in the western region and in this enclave area. We know that is not true. And I want you, the media, to disabuse the mind of the people in this community. That is not as a result of oil exploration or oil exploitation or operations of the oil companies that have brought this result. The climatic conditions, global warming, all other things that is coming. This happened to be the same about 1998.
He, however, admits the negative impact the seaweed has brought on the communities, especially fishermen. Mr. Blay has called on oil companies and other stakeholders for immediate steps to be taken to alleviate the sufferings of fishermen whose livelihood have adversely been affected by the invasion of the seaweed.
To what extent we can help? Fortunately, we've seen that people in the communities have organized themselves. Some of them locally are trying to help clear the coastline. Maybe what we can do is to help add more resources and ask also other oil companies or any other industry around this area, particularly Western region, if they can help. Because this thing is spreading towards Shama. It's in Secondia Sataki, Takrade, and in moving on. We need to control it. We need to manage it. At the moment, some are dry up, but sooner or later, maybe after rainfall, they will come again. So we are asking Ghanaian community and also environmental protection agencies to come to the aid of people around this road. Let's put ourselves together and help.
For now, The seaweed can only be swept away as we await researchers to find out what other use these weeds can be put into like other countries are doing. For Joy News, Inathalia Kwanza, Ekwe.
Now, police in the Northeast region have arrested 12 suspects in connection with the abuse and extortion of some 20 women over witchcraft allegations at Nyankpanduri in the Bumpungu Nyankpanduri district. The suspects, including a pastor and 2 women, were paraded before the Narerugu Magistrate Court Thursday. Now, they were charged with assault and causing unlawful harm to a 54-year-old man for coming to the rescue of his mother, who was being held at a torture camp in Togo over witchcraft allegations. They were subsequently granted bail to reappear on the 18th of November. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko was in court in the regional capital, Narerugu.
The suspects were said to have connived with a fake witch doctor in Barikosi, a Togolese Chakosi community, where the accused women were camped. But first, through hours of beatings and starvation, they were forced to confess before their relatives were asked to pay huge sums of money for a special ritual for their freedom and acceptance back into the Nyankpanduri town. After the police and immigration officials in the district could not handle the matter, a relative of one of the accused women reported the incident to the Ghanaian embassy in Togo. The embassy sent a contingent of Togolese gendarmerie to raid the camp and arrest the fake priest, and the women eventually freed and asked to come back to Ghana. Upon their return, according to the police, the accusers were infuriated and attacked them and vandalized their properties for causing the arrest of the witch doctor.
Numboye ama minyama mishenyina etete o so onum atweme saa meti na eda fom na onum kita menan na edikan na meti de na edi echi minyama nyina atete
ye ba wo mse wo hini se o munchichi ensanko na uwa beye na utro o beye de wo mun bubu ye na wo mun fan ayi ahoma nchichire ye na wo mun fan ensanfa yenko.
Among those the suspect attacked also include 54-year-old Dekoda Halidu, whose mother, Mary Dute, was among the women at the camp. Halidu was accused of being the one who reported the case to the embassy and was brutally assaulted into coma and his house destroyed. The suspects, who were subsequently arrested, were dragged yesterday before the Narerugu Magistrate Court on charges of conspiracy to commit crime to wit assault and causing unlawful harm. Represented by a lawyer, however, the suspects were granted a bail to the sum of 15,000 Ghana cedis each, with sureties to be justified. The complainant, Halidu, was in court and spoke to Joy News after the hearing, recounting how he was nearly beaten to death by the suspect and pleading for justice to be served.
Within 5 minutes time, this court there are not many. I say majority people, they just come, and as soon as one just hold me, they just start beating me. I was beaten from that 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock midnight before they just go and dump me somewhere, and they all went away. Now still, this my eye, I can't see proper. I can't see proper. That's what is paining me seriously now. And my neck, I can't turn. If I'm turning, I will be turning with all my body. So that's my problem now. And what they were doing in Nyankpanduri, it was so bad. If not because of this case, by now, more than 100 and some people will be there. Every day they will be sending 20 women, 12 women, 9 women every day. Well, I just want the judgment to be the proper judgment, if you can put it in proper way.
Halidu was, however, surprised that the police did not file any charges against the suspect for the false accusation, illegal detention, torture and extortion of his mother and the several other victims of the witchcraft allegation. In response, the acting regional public relations officer of the police, ASP Robert Anibik, said investigation was ongoing in collaboration with the Togolese authorities, while serving a strong warning that the police would not tolerate any form of violence against witchcraft allegation victims.
In fact, it is very disheartening that you are working, you have your mother who has raised you from childhood to become who you are. And then one day somebody will just come and say, your mother who has taken care of you all this while is a witch. Or your grandmother. I mean, so we are appealing to the people within this area to stop labeling people like that. If you are sick or there's a problem disturbing you, if you have a God, pray to your God. Don't blame an innocent person for your wounds. That is all that we are trying to tell them, because if they continue to do that, we need to try to use the law to bring them to order.
The case, adjourned to the 18th of this month, is being presided over by His Worship Abdul Baki Abdullahi. From Nalirgu, Ilyas Sutanko reporting.
Let's go to Kumasi now. On a day when it looked like they were going to fall prey to Edujemfi SHS for the second time in 2 years, fate spoke in favor of Kumasi High School. It was arguably the most dramatic contest at the prelim stage. Kuhis moved from the bottom to the very top at the very final question to qualify to the 1/8 stage. Model Kranting has more.
Imranti, action! Imranti, action! Imranti, action! Indeed, you showed action, but from the very first round, and I saw you falling down at some point. What was going through your mind? You thought you had lost?
Yeah, I thought all hopes are lost, and for that reason, I was even confused on stage. So when I came out from stage, I hope that my brother here and the other third contestant, we can make it to the 1/8 stage of the competition.
But tell me, the entire auditorium was filled up to capacity with, if you like, 80% or even more of the students from Kumasi High School. I mean, what were you going to do if you had lost the competition? What were you going to do?
It was to be a disaster. It would have been a disaster for us to lose this contest. But thanks to the Almighty God that we won it.
In fact, you actually did lose, at least in the first instance. And then by some dint of miracle, you ended up coming back into the competition. You thought all hope was lost?
No, for me, I know there's no hope that is lost. Because always we conquer, and that's our motto. And always we shall conquer. And that is why we are Mrantie. Mrantie! Action! Mrantie! Action!
Well, let me talk to you about the level of performance, if you like, because we know that, I mean, across the entire country, we've not seen a school win with as low as 33 points. And you are doing that. That sort of gives us a picture of what is to come in the 1/8 stage. If we do a tally of all the schools, you perhaps will be at the last or last but one. That means that what? You're already gone out of the 1/8?
No. The 1/8 stage, we make sure that we correct our mistakes that we did here.
What mistakes did you make?
Like we were rushing too much to take the questions. Because they were leaving us in round one, we were rushing too much to take the questions. But that should not be the case. So we try and correct our mistakes.
Let me speak to their teacher. In fact, their teacher who came with them, he's been with them. In fact, Edujemfi Senior High School and then the boys from Kumasi High School have a peculiar story, at least with reference to last year. Last year, I had to take a tiebreaker for Edujemfi to qualify at the expense of Kumasi High School. Well, let me speak to their teacher now and then find out. Congratulations in the first place.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Did you really expect this, to be honest?
In fact, I was expecting to win, but not in a surprising way like this. In fact, I nearly suffered a heart attack. But, you know, when God is with you, everything works perfectly. This is not our first time of getting to 1/8. It was just recently that we came down a little bit. But we are back, and I am personally back.
And still to come here on Joy News Prime, Cecilia Marford tops the trend on various social media platforms. But why?
It's now time for business. Now, he suffered the brunt of the banking sector crisis, and no other than the former chief executive of Defunct UT Bank, Prince Kofi Amoabin, says he's taken a step back from the world of business. According to him, he's been moving on since the story of the Defunct UT Bank had ended following the revocation of its license about 3 years ago. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of his book, The UT Story, Humble Beginnings, Mr. Amoabin says he will document his experiences for other businesses and entrepreneurs to take cue from.
On August 14, 2017, the Bank of Ghana, in a press release, announced its approval for the takeover of two indigenous banks, UT Bank Limited and Capital Bank Limited by the Ghana Commercial Bank. The central bank cited the insolvency of the banks in question as the major reason for the revocation of their operating licenses. Former chief executive of defunct UT Bank, Prince Kofi Amoabin, says he is taking a bow from the corporate world.
The UT Bank story is ended. Yes, it's ended. The bank has been assumed by the government and submerged into GCB. There's no UT Bank anywhere. In this world, you only live once, and you come in and do your best and do it with the right mind, and you face challenges, whatever, no matter how big the challenge is. So yes, it wasn't as I expected, but we had to endure it. Nothing much next. I am not in a position as in trying hard to prove myself or re-establish myself. I will be 70 in the next few months, and God has been good to me. So fine, I'm healthy, I may do other things, but writing a book probably is worth a lot more than trying to do other business.
Mr. Amoabin launched a book titled The UT Story, Humble Beginnings. Playwright Uncle Ebo White reviewed the book and referred to the book as the current history of Ghana.
I was pleasantly surprised when I discovered the book was that good. From the very first page, it read like a novel. It didn't read like some of those boring stuff that you... From the first page, and he promises something, that he's going to bear it all, and he's going to let the chips fall where they may, and that is what exactly he does. Names are mentioned, deeds are exposed, and things like that. And it's quite a refreshing book to read. It's a book that is difficult to put down. But that is not the only thing that surprised me. When I picked the book, I didn't think that I was going to read the history of Ghana, the recent history of Ghana. And that's what the book did.
The launch saw key players from the banking industry to the business world and across the political landscape. The book was auctioned from 100,000 Ghana cedis to 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Now, government has disbursed over 3.6 billion cedis as bailout cash for investors of the liquidated fund management firms. Now, this represents almost all the funds said to be owed these investors after an interim assessment. Well, government has, however, given the firm assurance that the remaining amount of locked-up funds will be paid at any new cost should any round of the audit come up. Jemima Wari is the Registrar General.
There were two tiers in this kind of financial arrangement. Tier 1 was purely cash, where if your investment is under 70,000, you get everything. If it's above 70,000 and your investment is, say you take 20% of your investment and it's more than 70,000 cash, we give you that higher figure. And then all pensioners got their money. All financial houses got half, 50% of their funds. And every other person fell, and schools and religious-based organizations all got their money. But every other person got the first tier 1 cash and then tier 2 bonds. And I might say that all those who were liquidated initially about a year ago, they are getting the first anniversary of 20% of their funds this month.
That is for the second tier. I mean, those that has part of their funds being invested.
Yes.
This is the time that they are getting a first.
They are now going to access 20% of their investment in bonds in cash.
And that should have been about 30% of the funds, right? Because 70 was paid to them, right?
Yes.
So this November they can start accessing.
They can start accessing, but the notices will come out from GCB Capital on how they can access at least 20. Those who want to liquidate it, it's not compulsory. Because if you think about it, the whole idea was these were funds that were invested for investment purposes. I mean, if you're going on pension maybe in 3 or 4 years time, you like to have some investment to see you through. So it's not always good to go and disinvest. Because this is a good instrument that government has put together. So let the money remain there and grow. But if you really, really need your money, at least you can disinvest 20% of that.
Well, that'll be it for business.
Many thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sport. I'm Hans Mensah, and the Hearts of Folks winless run at Sogakope against WAFA extended to 8 games after they were held to a 1-1 draw on Friday. The result means that some of Boedo's men start their title defense on a blunt note, with the Phobians yet to win a game. Here A highlight of the game from Sogakope. Head coach of Accra Hearts of Oak, Samuel Buedu, bemoaned his team's poor defense in the 1-1 draw with WAFA.
There's a lot of it work for perfection, but there was a little mistake that we need to correct it. The goal that we conceded, from the dugout, I can see that it's a misunderstanding or miscommunication that caused us that for them to cancel that goal. I know myself, maybe from fourth match going, things will change. When our Hearts of Oak started picking up, it's unstoppable.
So Hearts of Oak drawing 1-1 at Sogakope against WAFA. Let's take a look at the remaining games for March Week 2 of the Ghana Premier League. So you see Hearts of Oak 1-1 against WAFA. Tomorrow there is Ashanti Gold versus Karela. Also on Saturday, Legon City is up against RTU. And then on Sunday, Great Olympics will play Accra Lions. Elmina Sharks play Dreams FC. Indiana Stars up against King Faisal. Brekum Chelsea up against 11 Wonders. Asante Kodoko make a return to the Babara Sports Stadium where they'll be hosting Bechim United. That's it for now. There is more sports later in the bulletin.
And today we did celebrate Reggie Rockstone, and he's been appreciating, the kind gesture from the Multimedia Group Limited.
It's amazing. I mean, people are literally treating it like it's my birthday. It's crazy. My children congratulated me. My wife, of course. I mean, from all over the world. I'm getting hits from superstars, like Hollywood superstars are hitting my phone saying, congrats, Reg. I feel really, really honored and touched. Because for a very long time, the narrative was always, oh, man, when they're going to give you your flowers, Reg? When they're going to give you your flowers, Reg? And it just popped out of nowhere. So God does work in mysterious ways. On this note, like I keep saying on my Instagram and on my Twitter, in Sembondi, I'm moving to my accolades, no fans, no sa, but some one I'm best real. It's the end of the
So yeah, that was
we're still celebrating
Reggie
Reggie all through our programs.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
if you're watching us on Joy Prime, that's it for the show. Thank you for joining us. If you're enjoying this, we have more stories for you. Please stay. The West African Examination Council has outlined specific steps in dealing with the perennial exam leakages across the country. According to the Public Affairs Director of WAEC, Agnes Tekujo, candidates at the center would have different set of questions plus introduction of barcodes on the question papers, which will make it easier for the council to trace the source of the leakage. This comes on the back of the 2021 EDUWATCH WASSCE monitoring report, which revealed that over 11 papers leaked, with the council of being involved in those leakages. Now, speaking to Joy News, Agnes Tekujo, in rejecting the claims, also questioned the credibility of the report, arguing that 3 schools captured in the report did not participate in the WASSCE.
We have stated that some of the papers, for example, he spoke about physics 2 and 1. The council addressed that when we rescheduled the paper, because we noted that there was a compromise. And I think, as our lawyer said, determination of leakage is a question of facts. No, our own assessment, 5 papers did not leak.
So how many leaked from your own assessment?
In our assessments, we will not say a paper leaked, because if we say extras of a paper, doesn't mean that the paper leaked. You understand me? Yes. So that is why we have not put numbers to the papers that we have. That he says he has put numbers, but we have not put any numbers, figures, or any percentage, because we take each paper on its own merit. Well, when we speak about serialization, we want to say that we can have tests in different formats for everybody, so that maybe if we are sitting together in the same examination hall, the tests that you are doing will be different from mine. You know, there'll be a mix of that. Yeah. When we speak about what do you call it? So serializations basically is different versions of the test. Then when we speak about digital variable data printing, it means that we are going to personalize the question papers, you know, and then we are going to put in barcodes so that your question paper comes to you with your name, with a barcode, so that whatever, when that paper goes out, or, you know, sometimes we see snapshots of question papers on social media, we'll be able to tell at that particular moment that that snapshot that we have, it belongs to candidate A or candidate B. So all these are things that we'll have to put into place to be able to ensure the integrity of the examination.
And you are setting these measures would indeed protect the sanctity and integrity of our exam.
We'll also need retooling of the council, because definitely we have to go into a lot of digitization, a lot of automation to make sure that these things really happen. And I think that once we do that, and then eventually we may have to get to a place whereby, you know, candidates, we may not even have to conduct a paper and pencil kind of test.
Do an e-test. I mean,
yes. So these are all things that we need to look at going into the future.
So is this something you're considering?
Yes. As I said, these are all processes, you understand, because then it also has to come with resources to ensure that if you are administering the examination for somebody here in Accra, the same facilities exist for somebody also in a remote part of the country.
But the Africa Education Watch stands by its report. Executive Director Kofi Asare says the 2 schools cited by WAEC appears in error, whilst one has been misconstrued. He spoke on the pause.
I want to indicate that if you read our methodology, we indicated that we selected the schools purposely. And one of the reasons was that the purposive selection was based on a history or tip-offs we received from last year's WASSCE, and then our ability to enter the schools. So in the case of Insania, yes, they were in our sample frame. But after the sampling and then the first reconnaissance visit, we got to know that the school had collapsed after the COVID. And then it was replaced with, I think it was a PAM. It was replaced with a PAM. And then in the case of the other one they mentioned, Beposo Muslim in Secretary Central, the school's name repeated twice. It came first as Beposo Muslim School, and then it came second as Ghana Muslim. Ghana Muslim Senior School, the same school. It came twice in the appendix of the reports. Okay, but the original school we monitored was Trifupraso, so it was a typo. It was a repetition of one school's name twice, but in different forms. First at Beposo Muslim Senior High, and second Ghana Muslim Senior High, the same school. So this is in the appendix. There are 2 issues in the appendix that we saw. In the case of the Kekam Technical, we agree that they did not write to us. They are not a WASSCE school. They are a technical institute in the Lemele district. But that is where we verified and monitored to receive the finding that NAPTEX, Social Studies and English actually did leak. We indicated in our report that we also realized that NAPTEX leaked and that Social Studies and English for NAPTEX was leaked in schools. I mean, on social media platforms. We're able to confirm that because we're monitoring from a school, obviously, a school that was writing NAPTEX. And Kekam Technical is a school that wrote NAPTEX. Kekam Technical is located in the Lemele district.
The minority in Parliament has filed a private member's motion calling on the House to set up a bipartisan committee to probe alleged irregularities and leakages of exams conducted by the West African Examination Council in the last 10 years. According to sponsors of the bill, the situation, if not checked, will make WAEC-issued certificates lose their value in the country and also globally. They also argue that WAEC, the Ghana Education Service, the Education Ministry and police lack the credibility to probe the issues, alleging their involvement in the perennial leakages. The sponsors of the motion also argue that it's important for Parliament to establish the source of the leakages or break the monopoly of WAEC as part of efforts to safeguard the integrity of the exam. Deputy Ranking on the Education Committee, Dr. Clement Apak, is one of the sponsors.
The level of leakages, malpractices, had reached a stage where if action were not to be taken, we would be gravitating to a level where WAEC issued certificates would lose their value, not only in Ghana, but globally. We are taught that the Ministry of Education and government and WAEC would have acted upon the 2020 assessment report put out by Africa Education Watch. Nothing happened.
But some invigilators have been interdicted. The police is also probing some of the issues raised by Africa Education Watch. Isn't that enough for you?
For how long? For how long? 2021.
But you saw this
2020, how many people have been prosecuted? You are a journalist. How many people are standing trial? And you see, let's not beat about the bush to look at those at the bottom of the totem pole or the bottom of the ladder. If you have seen the African Education Watch report 2020 and 2021, the different layers that account for leakages, those involved, are above and beyond what we are hearing. We are talking about leakages occurring even before the exam papers move from WAEC's own strong room. How do you explain that? WAEC is not capable of conducting any serious investigation because WAEC itself is complicit. The police and the CID will do their best, but the police is not entirely independent because there is usually police personnel who form part of the team to move the papers and to secure them. GES and the ministry is not entirely neutral because they also have representation. And that is why it ought to be a bipartisan committee of parliament to sit. And you see, we don't want to be seen as being partisan or petty. And that is why we have given a wide range from 2011 to 2020. Yes, because it has been happening. So what we need to do is to look at the causal factors over time.
Chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education, Josephine Nkrumah, has described the attempt to scrap the study of social studies in the country's schools as a move that will spell doom for the country in the near future. Speaking at a Social Studies National Conference at the University of Education, Winneba, the NCCE chair indicated the study of social studies was the heartbeat of humanity and taking it out of the educational curriculum will further break down the country. She is thus calling on the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education to have a second look at the decision. Richard Kojunako has more in the following reports.
Madam Josephine Nkrumah indicated the study of social studies had become very critical in the day-to-day activities of the students and by extension Ghanaians, and scrapping it off would be the biggest blow in Ghana's educational sector. She appealed to the GES and the Ministry of Education to have a relook at the policy.
Social studies really is the heartbeat of humanity. You cannot take that away. It is the heartbeat of humanity. No matter what we do, we would live, work, coexist, worship, fight, build on peace together as a people, whether it's Ghana or anywhere else in the world. And so there is no reason why social studies should be scrapped in any shape or form on this earth. It is what actually allows us to examine ourselves and to constantly improve and enhance life and living on this earth. You see machines, robots serving in restaurants, robots delivering food to people's homes, robots collecting garbage. And sometimes we don't realize that it is that act that certain people carry out that brings them into connection with other people, and it is the essence of why they live. And so social studies must be there to begin to find new ways of connectedness for humankind.
Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences at the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Lucy Efatum, called on government to even consider making the study of social studies an elective course, just as we have in mathematics, science, and English.
It is therefore pertinent for the Ministry of Education
to consider social studies as both core and an elective subject at the senior high school level, as it is in the case of mathematics. With maths, we have core mathematics, we have elective mathematics. When it comes to science too, we have those who specialize in science, and we have science as a core subject.
Acting Vice Chancellor of the University of Education Winneba, Professor Andy Ofori-Brekran, asks lecturers who teach at the graduate school level to consider their students as their peers, as it's a social process that has future consequential effects.
I've always indicated that lecturers who teach graduate students must see graduate students as peers. You should see them as your partners and not as ordinary students. In fact, graduate students are different from undergraduate students. Now, the graduate student I taught some time ago is now the dean of my faculty. The person was a graduate student. Now she's a dean. When I retire in 2 years, I'll go and work under her. And if I'm lucky, she will give me post-retirement contract. You see, that is why lecturers and professors must see graduate students as peers. The same, equal, and chat with them, speak with them, do things with them, because they are the future of your faculty.
The conference, organized by the National Social Studies Association in collaboration with the Department of Social Studies Education, University of Education Winneba, called on school authorities to desist from allowing untrained teachers to handle the teaching of the social studies subject. The conference was organized under the theme Development of 21st Century Skills and Competencies, the Role of Social Studies. Reporting from the University of Education Winneba, Richard Kwejo.
School-going children in the Techima North District of the Bono East region would heave a sigh of relief after the Member of Parliament for the area, with support from the Helping Africa Foundation and Friends of Nyamransa Foundation, established a 50-seater educational lab aimed at promoting ICT literacy in the area. The move, according to the MP Elizabeth Ofosejare, would help promote girl-child education as well as contribute to the reduction of teenage pregnancies in the district. Anasa Bit has more in the following report.
The study of information and communications technology has over the years been a challenge for school-going children in the Techima North District of the Bono East region. The district entirely has no running facility that aids the study of the subject, and as a result, children within the area perform abysmally in the BECE exams. Today, the Tiobanum community is privileged to have a new robotics and ICT laboratory built by the Member of Parliament of the area with support from the Helping Africa Foundation in partnership with the Friends of Nyamransa Foundation. The project, which is aimed at providing an opportunity for students to expand their knowledge in STEM education through practical experience, is being managed by implementers who are also partners to the project. Kafui Prebia is the Chief Executive Officer of Tech Aid and Project Manager for the Nyamransa model.
This is the 10th lab that we've built that has these specifications. So there are two 24-seater labs, with one for the teacher, making a 50-seater lab. And then there is also a training room or a conference room. There's also a maker space, which is like a robotics center. So that place has 3D printing facilities. It also has Legos, right? Legos for programming. The kids are learning how to do programming. It has some Arduino boards also for programming. Over 50 teachers have been trained on the robotics and the use of the computers. There are over 30 pieces of educational softwares. And then there is the Asanka device, which has all the content required for teaching and learning of the primary and JHS syllabus. It was developed by TechAid and is specially made such that children in rural areas can have access to educational content.
For the Member of Parliament for the area, Elizabeth Ofosejare, the project will create an enabling environment for all, especially girls, whom, according to her, will help reduce teenage pregnancies in the area.
I'm excited to be the promoter of this project, to bring technology very close to the doorsteps of my young people. I know, and you know, that in the 21st century, technology is the way to go. I decided to use this space to create a certain environment for them to learn. I think if we occupy them, especially the ladies, it will go a long way to also helping me in my fight against teenage pregnancy, and to bring women closer to technology, so that the next few years, Techima North will also churn out robotic engineers, civil engineers, and what have you. Today, I am happy
Shariva adds that her office is partnering with the Girl Child Education Unit of the GES to provide mentorship to these girls in order to keep them in school.
From time to time, I'll bring their guardians and counseling coordinators to come and speak to them because I'm working closely with the girl child and guardian and counseling coordinators. They need to be spoken to.
Executive Director of the Helping Africa Foundation, Japhet Ayiku, emphasized that the foundation is committed at building more ICT laboratories across the 16 regions of Ghana.
Since 2016, we have made it our aim to build one computer center in each of the 16 regions of Ghana. This is the 10th one that we have built. We have built in the Ashanti region, Eastern region, Northern region, and all over. We have 6 more to go, which we're going to do in 2022 and 2023. This one, which is the last one that we're building for 2021, is unique in the sense that the promoter of the center is the MP for the area.
Some of the beneficiaries of the project expressed joy and stated that the initiative will improve the practical knowledge of pupils in the area. Juliet Makafui is a junior high school pupil of the Chibodom Islamic JHS.
No, sometimes the teachers will sometimes draw the computer, the monitor and the keyboard and the system units on the board. So now that they built this facility for us, it will help us to learn. It will help us improve our ICT skills, our typing skills and other things with practicals rather than looking at the drawing.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Chobodom.
While entrepreneurship has been touted as the panacea to solving the unemployment problem in Ghana, gender stereotypes are forcing women to limit themselves to trade deemed to be fit only for them. However, the Women's Economic Empowerment in the Northern Ghana project is preparing the minds of young women to break through these gender stereotypes and venture into male-dominated trades or vocations. We North has been organizing a week-long empowerment camp for young women in the Upper East region. Correspondent Albert Sori has more.
Mechanics, welding, construction, carpentry. These are but a few trades considered to be a preserve for the men. But these are the exact trades the Director of Youth Alive, Agnes Talata Chiravra, believes that women should begin venturing into.
These trades like hairdressing, dressmaking are choked. They are not well paying. Whilst we know that there are trades that are doing well and which are perceived by public as male areas, but we know that there is no trade that is written on it is for male. All these are stereotypes. Society has prescribed trades for different sexes. So we are preparing these girls psychologically, mentally, to know that these are areas you can also go into.
Agnes Talata Chiravra was one of the speakers at a one-week trade and vocations girls empowerment camp organized at Pusenamongo in the Talense district for 90 young women. The participants were girls and young women who previously started various vocation trainings but had to abandon their training due to various constraints. The Women's Economic Empowerment in Northern Ghana, or We North project, organized the camp with funding support from Global Affairs Canada.
Besides the trades, there are certain stereotypes about women, about girls. You are weak vessels. You don't have the ability. As for a woman, if I educate her or push her to go further, she's going to marry into another family and help that family to grow. And therefore, because of that, especially in the North, you see that girls' education is played down to favor boys' education. We are saying, no, what the boys can do, the girls too can do.
The participants will, after this empowerment camp, be enrolled into special training programs arranged for them at the Bolgatanga and Boko Technical Institutes. Noella Kabori is Community Relations Coordinator and Circle Manager for the project in the Upper East region.
We cannot be successful without the community from which we are coming from. After all this, we expect that the community should engage them, should make good use of the knowledge they have acquired from the institutions and even the attachment that they will go out for at the industry. We want the community to absorb them. For instance, if you are a plumber and you are working in a community where some of these ladies are found, you can work with them so that when you get contracts, you can attach them to assist you to do the work.
Here are some of the girls who attended the empowerment camp.
As I've come here, I've learned a lot of things, not only, let's say, based on the carpentry that I'm going to do, but I've also learned about leadership skills. If you are going to be a leader, the positive aspect of a leader and the negative aspect of a leader.
We came here with different mindsets, different background. Then through this training or empowerment training, we are going home with a change perception or mindset. They talk about like the gender and the gender stereotype. Through this program, we are enlightened that we shouldn't let the gender or the stereotype to keep us back.
The We North project will also facilitate industrial internships for the girls after their training. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Pusunamongo, Talense District.
At the end of 5 rounds of contest, it was a tiebreaker question that separated Mauli SHS from Dojapenyi SHS at the preliminary stage of the ongoing National Science and Maths Quiz Championship. Dojapenyi SHS had led in most parts of the contest, but the correct answer to the final question in the final round gave Mauli 5 points, pushing the contest, which also featured Audome SHS and Beje SHS, into a tie. Maxwell Abuba captured the moment Mauli School answered the tiebreaker question correctly.
They have every right to celebrate like this. It was a dramatic twist of fate here at the Nat Hall as Mauli School qualified for the 1/8 stage of the competition. Nobody expected them to win this contest. But in the final round, the 5th round, the last question, they got the answer right. That earned them 5 points, and they pushed the contest into a tiebreaker question. And eventually, when a tiebreaker question came, they won. They have every right to celebrate.
I am a field.
Magnetic field.
That is correct. 5 points. Now we have a tie between Dojapenyi Senior High School and Mauli School. Congratulations to the two of you. You ended the contest with 41 points each. What substance is formed when carbon dioxide binds with hemoglobin? Yes, Mauli.
We have carbaminohemoglobin.
That is correct.
Let me speak to the contestants. Now, tell me the moment you had the last question correctly. Who answered the last question? Tell me, what's going through your mind at that time? Were you sure of your answer?
I know by God's grace we are definitely going to win. So ringing the bell to deliver the last answer was not a much problem, because we know we are going to win by the grace of God. And this is how the Lord has brought us.
Were you sure of your answer?
Oh yes, of course.
You are very sure?
Yes.
Okay, who answered the tiebreaker question too? You answered the tiebreaker question. Tell me, What was the feeling like? You were sure of the answer to the tiebreaker?
Yes, our seniors taught us, so we were very, very sure of the answer. So we knew we are going to win.
By the point you thought you were out of the competition, right?
No, we never thought we were out of the competition at the very beginning. We were still sure we can make it out successfully through God who helps us. So we were still confident of winning the contest. And we knew we were going to win.
This must be sweet revenge for you because Awudoma beat you in the regional qualification contest.
Yeah.
So this is a sweet revenge for you.
Yeah, it's a revenge, yeah. We came back prepared for them.
So what should we expect in the next round, 1-8? What should we expect?
Expect great things from us by the grace of God. We are not good. We know we are going to excel to the last end of the competition by the grace of God.
Thank you. Now, like I mentioned, it's a dramatic twist of fate, and that is exactly what is happening behind me. When we came here initially, it was Awudoma Secondary School. They were the ones singing, dancing. But now, it's Mauli School jubilating and singing and celebrating. Whilst Georgia Penny Senior High School, many of them are sitting on their bus right now. But we can have a look at what happened when they arrived here on the ground.
Now, the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with APSA Ghana. The broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by Cowbell, Papa's Pizza, AIDS Medical Insurance, Tampico, DBS Industries Limited, U Lessons, Smart App, and Dole Yogurt. This is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Minu. Stay tuned in for editorial with Araba Kumsin.
Kromaeshe. To wit, times are hard. For some who may want to take it literally, they may say the town is hot, the country is hot. And I'm not just talking about the weather, I'm talking about the current economic climate as well. The temperature always increases when the price of fuel goes up. When fuel price sneezes, everything else catches a cold. It becomes a justification for the kenke seller to increase her prices. For those in the building industry, I am sure you understand me. The price of cables, iron rods, and many other building materials go up. For people who own cars, like myself, monthly budgets are disorganized. For commercial transport owners, it means passing on the extra cost to consumers. I'm sure you catch the drift, don't you? At the pumps, the price of fuel is now 6.90 pesos a litre. Don't be surprised if the fuel prices hit 7 cedis a litre soon. Now let me show you the chart of fuel prices over the last few months. As you can see, in January it was 4.91, 4 cedis 91 pesos. In February it was 5 cedis and 2 pesos. In March it was 5 cedis 48 pesos. In October, it rose to 6 cedis, 64 pesos. And we're in November, and we all know it's 6 cedis, 70 pesos. So, on the average, fuel prices in Ghana from January 1 to November 4, 2021 have increased by 36.46% in nearly 11 months. So, we have now come from 4 cedis, 60 pesos in January to 6 cedis 90 pesos in November. Now, fuel prices are driving many Ghanaians into a quagmire of hardship, and if care is not taken, penury. Recently, a leading member of the government said it is the opposition party that is making us believe that there's hardship in the country. Well, you cannot make up something that the people feel or cannot feel in their pockets in this case. The people who buy fuel with their hard-earned salary feel it in their hearts.
That goes into the decision to increase or decrease fuel, right? But anything that affects my spending, that increases my spending, I have a problem with it.
It has worried me from day one, and it is worrying me from now. It is worrying me because at first I was buying 60 cedis. I'll use the 60 cedis and close work back. As for now, I'm buying 1.5, which is 150 cedis. Mommy, No, it's not easy. I just want to stop the taxi work.
When the price of fuel goes up, it means that every single thing in the value chain would have to go up.
Just last week, fuel was 6 cedi, 80 pesos, and just this week, 6 cedi, 90 pesos. We don't know, maybe by the end of this year, fuel might reach 8 cedi or so, I don't know. And we, the motorists, we are suffering. Because every day increment.
I used to buy 200 cedis for a week. For now, I'm buying 350 for a week. Even 3 days, I have to buy another fuel again.
So that's how the masses feel. You cannot make that up. In communities where people use fuel to power their corn mill machines, they feel the heat in their pockets. Taxi drivers are suffering. Trotro drivers are suffering. Kenke sellers are suffering. Nika people are suffering. The masses are suffering. Indeed, the oil price is not determined by Ghana. We know that. The pricing is controlled by oil-producing countries. So it's influenced by the global trends. Some government officials have even argued that the current prices could actually have been worse. But that's not what we expect to hear from our leaders. We already know that. We expect them to rise to the challenge and find ways of insulating us from high fuel prices. Are there no taxes that ought to be scrapped so that we, the people, the masses, are cushioned? Ghanaians are complaining because this government, while in opposition, like many other governments, also complained about fuel increases and politicized it. We are tired of the politics. We just need an assurance that government will do its best to mitigate our suffering when it comes to fuel prices. COVID has killed us economically. Should fuel prices bury us further?
Yeah, welcome to business. The African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat is admonishing African countries to focus on production of consumer goods to discourage importation into the continent. According to the Chief Technical Advisor of the Secretariat, trade deficits can be resolved when African countries add value to the exported resources. Here's more.
African Continental Free Trade Area aims at accelerating intra-Africa trade and boosting Africa's trading position in the global market. After, with an economic bloc of about $3.4 trillion, is pushing for a continent-wide free trade to 1.3 billion people, regardless of the challenges including poor road and political unrest. Here is Chief Technical Advisor for the Secretariat, Prudence Sebehizi.
There are two ways that you can resolve the issue of trade deficit. The first one is that most African countries are exporting unprocessed products, and then they import finished products. So which means that they get less in what they are exporting in terms of return, and they have to spend a lot of money to import goods that they need to consume. So the solution to that is to add value, to what we are producing and sell it when it has appreciated in terms of the final price that we will tag on it. The second way that you have to deal with trade deficit, we have to look at the structures of our economy. There are so many things that we import which we are able to produce ourselves. If, for example, Ghana is importing clothes, and we know Ghana can make clothes, I think some of those policies where you can focus on the production of what you need and then import less. Even if you have to import, you import technology.
Also speaking at the roundtable program was Regional Head of Trade of Absa Bank, Solomon Kobna, who explained why Absa Bank was in support of such initiative.
At Absa, we are always guided by our brand promise of helping customers get things done and for bringing their possibilities to life. So it's in that vein that we thought it wise to sponsor this event and to come speak to it. We believe in the promise of AFTA. We believe in the long-term goals of it. And as a bank, we are seriously taking steps to prosecute the AFTA agenda. We are taking 3 steps, and they are as follows. We have a funding agenda. We have a digitization and systems agenda, and we have an upskilling and capacity agenda as well. In the area of funding, our appetite is quite clear. And even last year, at the height of COVID, we are one of very few banks to increase in loans and advances.
The 7th quarterly roundtable is set to take place early next year. James Ishen's report for Joy Business.
Telecoms giant Vodafone Ghana is exposing some selected small and medium-scale enterprises to opportunities in online markets for their growth. Through the setting up of websites for these businesses, the initiative is expected to increase the market reach of the enterprises. And Ayajima has more in this report.
Digitalization is one of the means being adopted to develop local businesses. 50 businesses have been selected to have their websites set up by Vodafone to enhance their operations. The company is also helping businesses to register and formalize their activities. Director of Enterprise Business Unit and Wholesale, Tawa Bolaren, explains the target is to develop these businesses to impact positively on the national economy.
We have a lot of the products and services that we've developed over time is really looking at how we can help SMEs to grow their businesses. So about a couple of years ago, we brought out Red Trader. Red Trader is an inventory management tool. It allows you to actually be able to manage all of your stock and your inventory on your phone without having to think about the cost of actually running such an application. It means that you have a digital cash till. It means that you can take payments. So if you engage your bank and talk to your bank about giving you more, like a loan or an extension of overdraft, you actually have the electronic information that you need to show how much turnover you make. I mentioned your business online earlier on. This is also another thing that we've done for SMEs. We understand the fact that most SMEs are not digitally savvy enough to be able to build their own websites, and therefore we have a tool that just from 100 cedis a year, you can actually get a website that gives you a lot more professional image over and beyond your social media pages today.
Through golfing, business leaders are being brought together to build synergy to grow their businesses. This year's Otunfo Golf Open, sponsored by Vodafone, created the platform for the target group.
Most golfers don't just see it as a way of, healthy lifestyle, because it is absolutely healthy lifestyle. It also gives them an opportunity to connect to professionals in different demographics, to talk about business and engage other customers. So for us, golf is important for this reason.
Meanwhile, some teachers in the Ashanti region have been taken through modern methods of ICT teaching. Nana Amaris Pebi is lead of Vodafone Foundation.
Through this event today, we've been able to ensure that our teachers who give so much and to whom each and every one of us here owes something can walk away with a digital knowledge acquired and also certificates and awards. We are proud to be celebrating these teachers, and they also play a significant role setting up and reviewing our educational content.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Now, the American Chamber of Commerce is pushing for creating awareness for prostate cancer in corporate institutions. Now, the Chamber says the disease is deadly, thus causing a fall in productivity among the working class. We have more in this report.
According to the American Cancer Society, about 1 out of 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. Additionally, prostate cancer is more likely to develop in older men and in non-Hispanic and black men. About 6 of the 10 cases are diagnosed in men who are 65 years or older. In line with this, the American Chamber of Commerce Ghana has organized a health forum dubbed Prostate Cancer Treatment in Ghana, the way forward to sensitize many Ghanaians. Here is its president, Aisha Bedi Ibe.
I think men's health, in particular prostate cancer, is not talked about enough, and if you were part of the discussions, you'd have heard one of the doctors, female doctors, actually saying that prostate cancer and men's health tends to be relegated to the background. So it's important that we create this awareness and we encourage men to get screened as early as possible and make use of the treatment interventions that are available. I think HR professionals do play a key role when it comes to employee welfare, and so it should be incorporated, whether it's by celebrations around Prostate Cancer Day, or whether it's by general education on medical issues on a going forward basis. So definitely I think that should be done.
Also, the Government Affairs and Policy Director at the Johnson & Johnson Group, Ikechukwu Ofuani, explained why there is the need to join the campaign.
Johnson & Johnson, we pride ourselves as one of the biggest players in the cancer space, and we, as much as possible, try to create the right kind of awareness so that everybody's aware, policymakers are aware, the right target audience, men, above 45, 50 who are liable to have that kind of disease are also aware of the need to get themselves tested, and of course for those who would have high PSAs, begin to think about how they will manage the disease.
The incidence of prostate cancer is increasing in sub-Saharan Africa. It is among the most commonly diagnosed cancers among men in the sub-region. James Asian's report for Joy Business.
Now, there is an emerging switch to the production of catfish from what has become the popular tilapia production. Next on Food Chain, we discuss the new taste for catfish production by pond farmers. Prince Apia engages a fish farmer who is employing a water recycling technology to optimize his resources and make profit.
So here we have just about 6 tanks.
This is Dr. Shadrach Kamponsa, a PhD holder in machinery agriculture. On the side, he is a passionate fish farmer at Fumesa in Ashanti region.
Basically, here we should have about 2,500 fishes here at the cottage. 6 weeks.
Catfish and tilapia are the common fishes that many fish farmers breed for commercial purposes. For some time, tilapia production became the toast of many breeders, but it seems catfish production is gradually taking over from tilapia. So what could be the reason?
This is a technology we are promoting, we are pushing. We call it the recirculating aquaculture setup. So with the recirculating aquaculture setup, with the same stock of water you have in here, it keeps recycling the water. So you see that the water is being circulated by this pump, and at the same time it's pumping in some extra oxygen. Once you are applying centrifuge to the water, all the waste is centralized. Then the hoses you see there all bring the waste from the central position into that waste bucket. That waste bucket has a mesh setup that traps the solid waste that can easily be disposed of by the opening of the valve. And then the clean water now is pumped back because we need a system to keep running. That's how we call it recirculating aquaculture setup. Even for water scare zones, this is a perfect technology you can use. And it comes in so handy. Within 4 to 6 months, you are ready, to harvest.
That'll be all for business. Coming up is sports this day.
Welcome back to Sports on Joy News Prime. Now, Ghana Football Association President Keto Kweku has met the Inspector General of Police, George Akofo Dampare, with the aim of eradicating hooliganism in Ghana football. Several violent acts occurred in the 2020-2021 football season, and there are fears they might resurface in the current campaign. Now, following the request made by the GFA President, the police is committed to sanitizing the football industry. My colleague Muftau Nabila Abdullahi was there and came through with this report.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, do not misconduct yourselves when it comes to Ghana football, because the IGP has warned that they will come after you. That is a major warning to the football community. Everyone has said that it's a new era, a new atmosphere is blowing around the Ghana Police Service, and at the behest of the IGP, Dampare Akufo-Addo, there was a meeting with the Ghana Football Association at the police headquarters, where the police have decided to partner with the Ghana Football Association to curb hooliganism, to also help them investigate alleged match fixing and other issues in relation to the governance of football in the country. The Secretary General of the Ghana FA, Prosper Harrison-Addo, has enumerated the conversations that transpired when the two entities met earlier.
Key things for our supporters, and here I'm addressing the supporters directly.
the game has changed. From today, the game has changed. And so, when you come to the grounds, behave properly. Indeed, a crime outside the stadium is the same inside the stadium. And so, when you come and you misbehave and you are apprehended at the stadium, and put it at the back of your mind that you can also, after the match, be apprehended at your own homes. And so, going forward, know that any action that you cannot take under the laws of the country outside the stadium, if you take them inside the stadium, it is not business as usual. You will be arrested, and here I quote again, the IGP said, we will come for you wherever you are and wherever you are. And so that is the new phrase I'd like everybody to dwell on.
From the end of the Ghana Police Service, Director of Public Relations, Samuel Kwesi Ofori, indicated that the police service is committed to ensuring that law and order is sustained at Ghana Premier League venues.
From the police end, the meeting was at the behest of the Inspector General of Police, and the idea, the controlling idea behind it is to see how best the police can support the Ghana Football Association in terms of protecting lives and property at the various stadia in the country. Secondly, to deal with violence, at the stadium, and the police would deploy sufficiently, to confront such issues and deal with them according to law.
If you ever thought going to a match venue is a platform for you to cause mayhem, give it a second thought, just because you might find yourself at the wrong end of the law. Muftar Nabila Abdullahi from the police headquarters for Joy Sports.
Now, Abedi Ayew, popularly known as Abedi Pele, turns 57 years today. The former Ghanaian captain is regarded as one of the greatest African footballers of all time. He played for several European clubs and found his fame in the French Ligue 1 with Lille and Marseille, the latter where he won the UEFA Champions League in 1993, among other titles. Here are 10 incredible facts put together by the Joy Sports team. And that'll be all for sports. You can read more at myjoyonline.com/sports. Ernest.
Thank you very much, Hans, for bringing us the latest in sports. But that's our package for today. Many thanks for your company. We have more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. For me and the rest of the team, have a great weekend.